guys, today I'm here to finally do a wrap up. I'm pretty sure I have decided that I'm just going to do like 2-month wrap-ups because there's too many videos that I always want to film, but most of the time I only read like 3 books a month, and that's always going to be a short video. And like, yes, it would be easy to edit, but I want to have like more substance in my wrap-up. So over 2 months work. Today I'm going to be talking about the books I read in March and April, and there's only 6 books because I read 2 books in March and 4 books in April, which I'm still really proud about because I haven't read 4 books in a month for the longest time. But it's just easier to be like, here's 6 books that I can talk about instead of like none. Like, there's some months where I only read 1 book, and sometimes I've done a 3-month wrap up because there's just not a lot going on. But I'm excited to get into the books I read. I feel like it's been so long though, so hopefully I still have thoughts and feelings. So the first book that I finished in March was House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas. So I actually read more than half of it in February, and then I finished it in March, but it's been so long since I read this book. Also too though, the fact that I did read this in March and it is now May and I still haven't filmed a review. I promise you I still want to do it. Like, I still need to talk about my thoughts and feelings, and I still have a bunch of jumbled notes in my phone, so at least I can remember what happened in the book. But I need to find time where I can actually go through my notes and actually feel motivated to do it. But I also had so many videos that I needed to do in like March and April. There's not as many that I need to do in May, so I'm hoping that maybe I can try and do this in the next week or so, but I really don't know if I can. But it's going to be a very belated review, and I hope you guys still want to watch it because it's probably going to be like half an hour long because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings. But I definitely enjoyed this, and I definitely picked it up the second I had this book in my hands, and like, it did take me 2 weeks to read, but I enjoyed where the story went. I don't think it had a second book slump, and I really enjoyed that we got more perspectives of different characters and also how the world grew a lot more. There's been a lot of shocking things happen in this book. Like, there was a few things that I didn't see coming, a couple that I did or I was wrong, but then I guessed it by the end. And I just think every character developed like really well, and I really liked the way that like Bryce and Hunt developed. I love their relationship so much, and I love that Bryce is getting even closer with Rune, and I love the friendship with all the boys, and I love that they're helping Ethan, and I love that Tarquin's there. Like, there's a lot of good developments, and there is still a lot of things that are going to need to be tied up, and I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a quartet because we're getting one of the books for each of the houses. So the next book is still going to expand on stuff, but still going to leave me reeling. And the 4th book is obviously going to be an amazing conclusion, but I'm just so glad I got to it so quickly, and I just enjoyed this so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Probably going to be one of my favorites of the year because it was so good. The next book I read was Meet Cute by Helen Hunting, and this was one of my Magical Readathon books. Like, there is a lot of books for the Magical Readathon that I haven't read yet. I'm still attempting to get them done. I've actually made a system now that I will colour in a book in purple if I read it in the time that I had, but if I didn't finish it in the time that I was meant to finish it, I colour it in pink so that I know it's like I've done it, but I did it too late. But I actually read quite a lot of this on the plane home from Melbourne, and this is also like, I filmed the start of my Magical Readathon vlog in Melbourne, and now it's May, and I still haven't finished reading one of the books in that vlog, and I'm like, I'm adamant, like, this vlog is gonna be like 6 months late, and I'll finally be like, hey, look what I did in this like months and months worth of readathon. Like, it's gonna be so weird to edit it because like I got nothing done. But I did enjoy this, but I just feel like there was not a lot of substance to it. Like, I know that the idea is the main character is a lawyer, and then the male main character is a lawyer, but he is also the star of this TV show that he was like really famous for and has a lot of fans, but then he went into being a lawyer, and he has a younger sister who his parents had like a lot later in life, and then his parents die and he has to raise the sister, and she is the lawyer that's helping the case, and she's like meant to be the third party because there is another person in the thing that wants the daughter, and they're trying to like work this out, and like she's had a crush on him forever, she's a big fan, and they always were like friends, and then something really bad happened, and then like the thing that was really bad I didn't even think was that bad. I just feel like the romance didn't have a lot of substance, everything tied up really easily, and it was just very easy, but it was very quick to read. So like, I did get invested in their romance, and I know I said it was too easy, and it can be something that's easy, but I can still enjoy it. That's why I gave it 3 stars, because there were still fun times here, and I liked the bond that the main character had with the younger sister. That was fun. And also, if my voice sounds weird, I've got like a cold going on. Like, I've had a lot of phlegm and a bit of a runny nose, but like, I've been feeling like this for ages and I've been fine, but it's just the voice is starting to disappear on me at the moment, which is not fun. But I am glad that I finally got to this book though, because it's one of the adult contemporaries I've had for like many years, and it's like finally read one of my OG ones that I own. And then in April we had the Magical Readathon start, and I did read the novella for the Shadow Me series, so that first novella got finished and I definitely completed that challenge. But for the fact that it's in a bind up, I can't say that I finished the book until I read the other novella. So I actually completed 4 out of my 5 Magical Readathon challenges, which I am very proud of that I managed to do that. And I actually did change out one of the books right at the end, but I just didn't manage to do it. But I did better than I thought I was. I thought I'd maybe get to like 2 or 3, but 4 of the challenges is amazing in my opinion. And then the other book that I read was an audiobook that didn't fit into the challenge because I was listening to that audiobook for like a month before then. So that's the wrap up for the readathon. But now to tell you those books. First one I read was The X Talk by Jennifer Lynn Solomon. So I actually read a majority of this on the train to Sydney when I went to meet Grace. So meeting my online friends is great because I get to read heaps of books on my commutes to them. I had such a fun time with this book. I really enjoyed the radio aspect of it, and I liked that they had the podcast aspect. And also, since watching Only Murders in the Building and they have their own podcast, I don't know why I enjoyed this book more because of that element, but I think the romance was done really well. I really liked the way that the main character was really discovering what she wanted to do in life, and I liked the main male character. He seemed really sweet, but it was also nice that like he's only really had like one serious relationship in his life before, and to like really love someone new is something so foreign to him, and I loved that aspect. And I also think the way that the main character's father, who passed away like when she was 18, is such a big part of her career in radio, and I just loved their relationship. I loved the way that they were able to like work through problems or differences, and I just enjoyed it so much. Like, I highly recommend it, and now I'm really excited to read Weather Girl because I didn't make the connection that it was the same author until about halfway through this book, and now I need to definitely read that book soon. And the audiobook I read was Where It All Lands by Jenny Wexler, and this is one that I really enjoyed and one that I was really excited to read because it's about a split timeline, and you guys know how much I enjoy this type of story. It's always so good. But basically what happens is the main character, his name I cannot remember, moves to town, and there's 2 boys, and we've got Drew and Alex. I think it was Drew and Alex are the 2 boys, and they both instantly like fall in love with her like when they see her, and they both plan on asking her out. So one of the boys was like, let's toss a coin, and whoever it lands on gets to ask her out, and the other one backs off. So that's the 2 storylines that we see going, and I really enjoyed the way that it was so similar, but also there was so many different outcomes to the different stories. But also there is a bit of the story where at the start something really bad happens but you don't know what it is, and then you're trying to figure out what that is, and then at the end, because you do one timeline for about a third of the book, and then you do another timeline for another third, and then the last bit is alternating chapters of the last 2 timelines, seeing how the 2 different things really did happen at the end. Oh, there's a spider over there. Just stressful. It's moving so fast. What do I do? It's only like this big, but it's weirding me out. Okay, I can't see it anymore. And what's funny for me too is before I picked up this book, I did see it somewhere, and then I was really intrigued, and I had an idea of which boy I thought she was going to end up with, and I was really strongly of this opinion. Like, I thought this was the character I would love them to be with. This seemed so happy, and at first I was liking it, but then I realized the same way as the main character did, I think, the way that she was like, like, this is the person that I could be with, but this is the person that I really like, and I loved that so much. I love the way that the author wrote the character's discovery of who she liked in the way that I also read it. Like, I thought that was a really cool touch. Like, I just highly recommend it. It was so much fun, and I just loved that there was so many different things and ways that I was like, oh, this is gonna happen now because it didn't happen before. Like, this is why I love these type of stories. Next, I finally read The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, and I'm so excited that I finally did, and man, I have some problems with this book. I gave it 4 stars because I still really enjoyed it. I really loved the love story, and I really loved the way that we got to learn more about Kwon, but also see what everyone else is doing in their lives, which is really fun as well. And they just have such a unique story, and definitely grief is a really strong part of this story. So the romance actually does take a back seat, so it's not always as present, because Anna has something happen in her family and she really has to step up and help with caring for someone, and it's something that she's not really equipped for because she's been going through a lot of burnout because she is a violinist and she has just had like music block and she hasn't been able to play her music anymore because she finds it really hard to like try and do it when she needs to be perfect, because she went viral on YouTube and she just hasn't been able to make herself not want to strive for being perfect. And she also gets her first diagnosis of being autistic, and that's something that she's had to also deal with. So then also having to be in the situation where she just feels like she's being smothered by her family and by life and by everything. And what made it so hard for me to read was her inability to disappoint people, because I feel that I find it so hard if I'm at work and I'm trying to do things and they're telling me that I'm doing things wrong or I'm not doing them the right way, and I just feel like I'm disappointing people, and I always hate trying to say no to people. Like, I actually went home sick from work the other week because I wasn't feeling good, but I was okay after a day or two. Like, I think it was honestly something that I ate. Like, I just didn't feel good, and I just felt like I was letting people down by saying I can't do this anymore today. But there is literally so many times in Anna's life was just worse because she couldn't say no to people. Like, there's things that she did that were damaging to herself that she did because she just didn't know how to say no. And then you've got her family, and especially her sister, who gaslights the shit out of her. I was horrified the way that her family treats her, and then she just smiles and bears through it because she is very much a person that does masking. So she has this persona that she does around her family, and even Kwon was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you need to like fight this, even though he was so supportive for her for every situation. But Patricia was a dick. She was awful, and she just had this whole idea of, you know, you have to do tough love and you have to get over things and anything else that you do is freaking stupid. I hated her sister so much. She was the worst character. I did not like that part of the book, and I just, it was just so painful to get through. That's why I gave it 1 less star, because as I said, it was written beautifully. The story was done so well, but her family sucks. Like, I was so done by the end of the book. And definitely the first book is still going to be my favorite in this trilogy. Like, not that the writing gets worse, but just I was so much more invested in the characters of the first book than the rest of them, but I still love Kwon. But I would recommend this trilogy, but just know that there's going to be some annoyance reading this. And the last thing that I read this month was A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett S. Clare, and I've been so hesitant to read this because I've heard so many mixed reviews and mixed feelings, and there's some people that love it, some people that hate it, some people that are just in the middle, and I am for sure in the middle, because there is parts of this story that pissed me off, but also parts that I really enjoyed. So I gave it 3 stars because I think it's what it deserves. I can't get past how freaking stupid Persephone is. Like, I know she's going to be this amazing character, but she's also innocent because her mother's kept her locked away and she doesn't really know anything about the world, and now she is out in the world, but she doesn't still know anything because her mother has kept her so close and she's so reliant on her mother. But didn't her mother teach her common sense? Because in this book, every time she has a decision to make, there is the logical right decision or the stupid decision that makes you look like a dumbass, and you know where she goes, she's like, oh, let's go. Like, no, that's no. Okay, I can't deal with her because she is so dumb. And even at the end of the book, I'm like, you're still dumb. You're still not making sense. So I hope it gets better in books 2 and 3. Because on the other hand, Hades is a great character. I loved reading about him. I loved discovering more about him and the reasons why he does what he does. And now they decided to introduce aspects of the underworld that we didn't know about, and about the fates. And even the world building is amazing in this book, the way that the gods are so invested in everything, but they also do their own thing, and I just enjoyed it so much because I feel like mythology can seem very similar, and I liked that this was quite different, that they're like celebrities and the world knows about them, but also humans fear them. That was really cool, and I do like the way that the romance developed. But Persephone still annoyed me because she's so dumb. But I'm glad I read it, and I'm glad I had lower expectations because of what I've heard people say about this book. And I agree with them that, yeah, there's things that just weren't good, but also things that were really good. So I think a pretty good stash of books, and a lot of contemporaries, because that is all I like to read at the moment. It's either contemporaries or Sarah J Maas. That's like the vibe. But I am still very proud of the 4 books that I read in April, and the fact that I got so close to getting my Magical Readathon TBR completed. But I am concerned that I'm not going to be able to do it in August because I have to read 7 books, and I'm like, not gonna happen. But anyway guys, that is all for today's wrap up. Like as I said, this video is a bit long because I had some complaints about the last two, but I really do hope you enjoyed. I'm hoping that I can try and get like a little bit more reading done, because there's a lot of books that I actually want to finish that I'm like halfway through. So maybe if I can just like start bamming them out, I will get like a higher read count, because I'm still 5 books behind on my Goodreads, and I thought 52 would be easy enough to get to, but apparently not. Like 1 book a week is even too hard for me at the moment. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!